So let me start today with a question. Who here knows what this is? Show of hands. Anybody? All right, Eric will give you $100 if you know what it is. Cotton gin. Eric, you owe him $100. So there's something really interesting about the cotton gin. And I'm going to show you actually, this is the original patent filed for the cotton gin by Eli Whitney in 1794, but on a very, very interesting date. You see, the date it was filed was March 14th, which is precisely today, 225 years ago. So what makes the cotton gin interesting? Well, you see, before the cotton gin, there were plenty of simple seed-removing devices. There were lots. The problem was people hated using them. They were incredibly frustrating. It was back-breaking labor. They jammed all the time. It took a lot of training to figure out how to even get it to work. So why am I talking about the cotton gin in a room full of financial services executives? The reason is that Eli Whitney did something that was simultaneously simple and transformative. In the cotton gin, he combined the existing technologies of the day into a seamless experience. And that seamless experience transformed agriculture, textiles, and transportation irreparably. Those industries were transformed due to this single invention. So you all, as financial services leaders, I think, are in a similar place today that Eli Whitney was in 1794. Today you've got your hard, manual accounts that take a lot of mental effort to get them to work the way that you need them to. But people strive for better. And you need to move quickly to be better. And why do I say that? I say that because of the shelf life of wow. So what is the shelf life of wow? It's the amount of time it takes for an innovation to go from jaw-dropping to passé. I'm going to show you a video of Steve Jobs demoing the very first iPhone in 2007, just 12 short years ago. And as you watch this video, I want you to listen to the way that the audience reacts to Steve Jobs showing them what scrolling looks like on an iPhone.
Well, how do I scroll through my list of artists? How do I do this? I just take my finger and I scroll. That's it.
Did you hear the gasps? Did you hear the applause? That was 12 years ago. Every single one of you in this room does what he just did 100 times a day. It's now invisible to us. Steve Jobs in the iPhone combined existing technologies. Touchscreens already exist when the iPhone was made. Mobile internet already exists. Smartphones already exist. He just combined them all into a seamless experience, so much so that people gasped and awed when they saw it. So what's the state of financial services today in 2019? It's much like picking seeds from cotton in 1794. People hate dealing with it. All of these siloed customer experiences, and here I'm just showing a handful of some of the digital financial products that we need to use just to keep our financial life in order. People hate dealing with all of them. They strive for better. They want more automation. They want more simplicity. They want more intuitiveness in the experience. I'm going to tell you a little story about Nadine. Nadine's a red-blooded American. Nadine shops at Target. She pays her Verizon bill. Nadine is trying to pay down her student loans like many Americans. And while she does that, she's driving for Uber on the weekends. When she gets a little extra money in her checking account, which is different every week because of her Uber work, she transfers some to savings, she'll transfer some to her IRA when she can, and she'll pay down her student loan debts and hopefully pay down the principal a little bit quicker. But Nadine's got a big problem, guys. As Nadine's financial life has grown more complex, she's had to open up additional siloed financial accounts. And each financial account is no longer associated with her about getting closer to her goals. It's just more friction, more frustration, more work. In fact, when she needs to make a transfer from her checking account to one of these accounts, it's much like the old cottonseed remover. It takes all of her time and all of her effort just to get it to work, and it doesn't work very well. And she hates it. It's not that she hates finances, it's that she hates having to deal with all of these disconnected, siloed financial accounts. What she strives for is a connected financial ecosystem where she's abstracted from dealing with individual accounts, where the money moves around seamlessly in the background based on her goals. not based on a manual decision that she has to make whenever she wants to move money. And simple if statements and automation don't cut it. She needs to be abstracted from that layer so that she can focus on her family and her goals. This is when she has the time to think about, should I talk to a financial advisor? Do I even have the right accounts? If she's in the weeds, she's frustrated. We're seeing financial startups start to tackle this area. Haven Money doesn't just offer checking or savings accounts or investment accounts. It offers an ecosystem of those accounts that you put on autopilot. You put money into the ecosystem, and the money is distributed just between those accounts. Betterment's two-way sweep feature allows me to move money between my checking account to my Betterment investment account, detecting if I have too much money in one of the accounts and moves it back and forth. This is just the beginning of what it's going to look like. But your customers' expectations aren't just going to be set by these fintech startups. A few years ago, if I bought a movie on iTunes, it just lived in that silo forever. If I bought it on Google Play, that was one more silo that I had to check. And if I wanted to look at all the movies I owned across these ecosystems, I'd have all these different apps and websites open. Now that these players have moved to an open ecosystem, I can buy a movie in iTunes and then watch it in Amazon Prime, and vice versa with all of these players. Your customers' expectations are going to be set by these types of experiences, not just by fintech players. So what do you do about it? Let me ask you a question. A show of hands. Who here hates innovation? Nobody? Nobody hates innovation? Of course not. Everybody loves innovation. Everybody loves innovative brands. But if you love it, are you married to it? So I just got married 26 days ago, as Eric mentioned. And there's a big difference between dating innovation and being married to it. And most financial companies today are just dating innovation. And if you're just dating, you're not invested in the future because you don't know if there is a future. But if you're married to innovation, you're in it for the long term, and you can be future focused on long-term outcomes because you value innovation. So how do you get married to innovation? What does that look like? Being married to innovation means you're committed to supporting your innovators. You're committed to enabling them to focus on the things that matter, which are your customer and the solutions to your customers' problems. All too often, I'll hear a story about this genius innovator that works inside a financial services firm who needs to spend his time building a spreadsheet and a business case to justify to the CFO why they should be allowed, the customer should be able to log into the app using Touch ID as opposed to they're entering their password. That's a waste of your innovator's time. You're taking all the momentum out of the innovation. But if you free them in a ring of protection so that your employees can focus on the customers and abstract them from business cases and the painful annual funding cycles, they can move quicker. They can focus on the things that matter. So a dedicated innovation budget is what really enables a marriage to innovation. And when I say a dedicated innovation budget, I really want you to take that away today. Don't leave today without starting that process. Before you talk to your CFO, before you build the spreadsheet, commit to that. And that's one of the reasons that we've brought the luminaries here today. These are the people that challenge thinking in their organizations. These are the people that protect the innovators. And I want everybody in this room to know that you too can be a luminary, that you can be a luminary in your organization. You can take what we talk about today and you can illuminate and talk to your employees about it.